I would like to thank all those people who are watching Sausage Party. I also like to thank all those people who are watching the Hillary Clinton documentary. I like to also thank all those people who are watching the latest Woody Allen film, Cafe Society. So I also like to thank the 61 plus subscribers who've been subscribing to this channel. Please, just sit on your ass, folks. Watch these videos, like these videos, comment on these videos. That'd be really awesome and appreciative. Thank you all. You're welcome. You're fun. So just recently, Scream Season 2 just ended, and I wanted to spend a couple of days thinking about how I felt about the season finale and all the events that have happened. This is going to be relatively spoiler-filled, where I'm going to talk extensively about the plot here and what happens, and then I'm going to get into what I like and what I dislike about this season. So this season begins with Emma, played by Willa Fitzgerald. She comes home after a hospital due to PTSD issues from the result of what happened to her in last season. Noah, who's played by John Parma, he begins to suspect that Piper, who was the previous killer in the last season, had an accomplice, and he begins to try to figure out who is the accomplice here. So this time, a new killer then emerges. This time, the killer starts to really harass and blackmail Audrey, who was revealed at the end of last season was communicating with Piper, and she was burning letters, and this time the killer tries to blackmail her into doing things. The first victim here in this season is Jake, who survived last season. He's played by Tom Madden. He gets killed in a fairly gruesome way. I'm not going to spoil it how he gets killed, but it's fairly gruesome. So unbeknownst to Audrey, the killer then leads Aubrey to find Jake's body in a warehouse. So the killer serially records Aubrey hovering around Jake's dead body, which is again for her attempts to blackmail her. And his father then shows up because I guess her father realized, oh, I want to at least be with you. I have my own secrets because, hey, look, I was torn up. What happened with the killer from our past childhood, So Emma's dad is also getting emails from one of Piper's previous victims, and so they obviously go to the police about that. So Audrey then finds herself in possession of a murder weapon of a hotel employee where Emma's father is staying at the exact same room that Emma's father is staying at. And then, because Emma was going to go there to confront her father, and that happened to be a room where the hotel employee was murdered. The killer clearly thinks Audrey is a killer, nonetheless not really a victim in all of this. Jake's body is then revealed. Jake's body, for those people, it's it takes about 4 episodes for them to reveal that Jake is dead to the whole assumed body. So there's a pageant going on. Jake's body is then dropped to the floor right next to Brooke, and everyone realizes, oh, Jake is dead. So then Sheriff Acosta then arrives at the school. He begins to, interview everyone who knew Jake. Find themselves, in the school library of sorts. They're all held in because obviously, the killer could be still on the loose in there. And this leads to a couple of hair situations. Audrey believes that the new kid, Gustavo, or Gustavo for short, who happens to be the sheriff's son, is the killer because he's been drawing some creepy drawings of the people who survived last season in really graphic form. And then the assumed body then sort of gangs up on Gustavo. Through a series of odd circumstances, Noah finds Audrey's phone. Noah then realizes that Audrey is standing over in her phone is recording that that she's over Jake's body, and Audrey then confesses that she knew Piper. She really wanted Piper because she wanted to make a documentary about the local psychopath Brandon James, who was, he went nuts all those years ago. That's the reason why we had season 1 here. So Brooke here, meanwhile, starts to believe that her former teacher / boyfriend, Mr. Branson, is really the killer of Jake. Brooke then decides to confront Branson. She lures him to a hotel. She then ties him up, confronts him, and then leaves him tied to the bed. Well, then the killer comes in, slices off his hand, and then does something, I guess. The killer then tricks Brooke into thinking that it's Mr. Branson, who Brooke really realizes, oh, now Branson has escaped from being handcuffed to a bed when really he's been sliced and diced by the killer. Also working at the school, again, staring at this may have been a day off or the students are not there, is Miss Lang. The killer then goes after Miss Lang. When the police then arrive, because that Miss Lang falls off a flight of stairs and gets injured. And then she would have been killed by the killer, and then I guess probably would have framed Brooke or Audrey, who knows. And then the police discovered that Miss Lang was interviewing students from the previous murders that happened in Lakewood. So while all this is happening, Sheriff Acosta believes his son Gustavo is the killer because he sees his drawings and he hears the interview tapes of him with Miss Lang. And if he sort of begins to suspect is my son the killer here. And so that leads to a confrontation with him and him leaving his father's house. So Emma then finds out that Audrey knew about Piper. She gets into a fight with Audrey and then also gets into a arguing with match with Noah because Noah forgave Audrey and would suspect that Emma would forgive Audrey like he did. So then Emma finds out that Miss Lang grew up in an orphanage, or stayed in an orphanage for a short period of time with Piper. Emma and Audrey then go to the orphanage where they find out that a party is going on. The party here, in the absence of the killer, I guess, is run by Haley, who ran afoul with Audrey because she tried to prank her. The killer then unfortunately kills Haley. Emma and Audrey then discover Piper's body because Piper's body was never really found at the end of last season. The killer then goes after Noah because Noah, in the good sense, had to have a relationship with a pretty girl named Zoe. They slept together, and then the killer decides, being that this is a horror film and that you should never have sex in a horror series, the killer then decides to bury Noah alive. And Emma and Audrey rescue Noah, but they discover that the killer has some recordings of Zoe underneath where Noah is being held. They discover, and basically, Zoe's the latest one to be killed in this. While all of this is going on, Emma, Audrey, Noah, and to a lesser extent Kieran, become to suspect his cousin Eli, because Eli had a restraining order out against him, and also they discover he was in town for some of the murders, unknowingly to Kieran. So this all leads to the finale, in which the killer then frames Emma and Audrey for all the murders. And Emma and Audrey then decide we're going to make one final stand here because we're sick of running and we're going to, again, what else is there to do in this day and age but to confront a killer? And the killer is, what do you know, Kieran. Ta-da! I figured that out easily. And this will all probably lead to a season 3. Alright, now, so now I want to get into what I like about this season, what I really particularly don't care about this season. So, first of all, let me say this about the whole Scream franchise in and of itself. I like the first 2 films. I really like how they riff on the horror genre and how the fact that, they know what's going, how they made the rules of the horror genre, and it's like, but there's still a killer outside. Scream 3, I just, the magic is really missing there. Scream 4, to quote Gene Siskel about the first Scream film, I smiled knowingly about what the material that they're saying, but I was bored out of my mind. So when the killer was revealed in Scream 4, it was like I groaned so hard, because it was like, oh my god, this is the killer. It's like, okay, I don't care. It's like, in Scream 4 it could literally have been anyone, and it could have been Neve Campbell for all I care about, and that would have made much more sense. So let me first off by saying that I definitely like the reveal of Kieran as the killer, because it's like, yeah, it's always the ones that don't really stand out in the crowd are always the ones that really have to worry about. It's like, yeah, I was tempted throughout the show that it could have been Eli, it could have been Zoe for a few seconds there. You clearly feel something about him in the first season that made you suspicious of him even in the first season. But it's like, here, him popping in at like certain moments, you really begin to realize, yeah, this really could be him, basically. I have to say this, I'm glad they killed off the mayor, because the mayor was like, what was the point of him? It's like, he was an idiot in season 1. In season 2, they try to make him smarter, but ends up regurgitating the same plot points from season 1, that he's an idiot, basically, and he's been doing something ill-timed to benefit his own interests, and it's like, okay, I'm glad they killed you off. So in this season, there are new showrunners. These showrunners decide that each episode is going to be named after a different horror film, and that's relatively ingenious because some of these titles are relatively good, like I Know What You Did Last Summer. I know that's odd for me to say. Psycho, The Vanishing, Let the Right One In, When a Stranger Calls. And it's like, yeah, these students are. It's really refreshing to have Noah recite all this horror logic. That's also really fun. And so in one instance, one of the person's talking to the killer, and they say, "We played your game. This all should be going away." And it's like you realize the killer is not playing fair, and it's like, yeah, the killer is not playing fair because he's a psycho, and largely serial killers do not play fair. I also say this, I happen to like, is that the fate of the killer is different this time around because in most of the films, Sidney Bristow never had a choice to figure out what he wanted to do with the killer. So let me get into what I'm not necessarily thrilled about this season. First and foremost, I have to say, they could have done more with Emma's PTSD or something. It's like, there are times where you killer really could think, okay, she could be the killer because, obviously the teacher has her recordings of how she really reacts and feels. And it's like, clearly you could think she could be the killer, and that in and of itself could have been fascinating because they try to explore that with Scream 4 and that didn't work. So one of the main points that I want to say, here's the thing. How hard is it to hire actual teenagers? I'm just curious. It's like Will Fitzgerald, who plays Emma, she's 25. Carlson Young, who plays Brooke, she's 25. Bex Class, who plays Audrey, she's 22. John Carmen, who plays Noah, he's 23. The guy who plays Kieran, whose name is Amadeus, I can't pronounce his last name because that's too hard, he's 25. The person who plays Zoe, she's 19, so it's like, I'm just curious, how hard is it, like, I get it partially, you couldn't have two 16-year-olds simulating a sex scene, but it's like, how hard is it to hire actual teenagers? Because actual teenagers, they're actually done, they made some mistakes, and it's like, again, do you believe Neve Campbell is a teenager in the original Scream film? No, but it's like, it's still imaginative to believe that, I guess. And Zoe, Eli, and Haley, they're not really around long enough to make a sizable impact on me. I'm sorry if Noah thought, okay, the girl I had sex with for the first time, it all means something. Oh, I'm sorry, your girlfriend's dead, but it's like, sorry. You're like, with the exception of few episodes such as I Know What You Did Last Summer, Dawn of the Dead, The Vanishing, which dealt with the character being buried alive, and when a stranger calls here, which coincidentally is played on the theater here when our heroes go into the theater, not the remake with starring Camilla Bell. None of the other episodes really feel like they're digging deep into the mythology of what clearly there's some substance there, but not enough is done, I guess, to truly deal with it. So here's the thing. Also, the showrunners here, they planned 14 episodes, so they filmed 12, and that the last 2 episodes are going to be a Halloween special in case there's not a season 3, which leads me to believe, why not have this TV show debut in the fall and have the last 2 episodes on Halloween, therefore making it a special, therefore wrap everything up in case there isn't a season 3. It's like, that would be much more interesting than releasing it in the dead of summer. It's like, that would be more interesting. So what did you think about Scream Season 2? Did you happen to love this thing? Did you not happen to care for it at all? Put that in the comments below, folks. So like, comment, subscribe, folks. Earn yourself of knowledge. War Dogs is going to be next review coming up. So see ya.